Bluetooth on? Yeah, I'm gonna get you.
Yeah, I got the Facebook on.
Right now?
If you want to check it, it's on.
Alright, I will. Facebook is on.
It's on. Labeled correctly. It says July 19th, 2020.
There you are.
Make sure it's labeled.
I don't see a label. I just see you moving around. I don't see what's labeled. Well,
Okay.
I mean, it's gotta be, right?
Yeah, I labeled it, so I just want to make sure I labeled it the right date.
I don't see what it says. I mean, on the live thing, you know what I'm saying?
No big deal. I'll check it after the show. I can always fix it.
So I can't hear it. Is it down for a reason?
Yeah, it's down for a reason, so I can hear Ray.
Oh, okay.
He talks to me.
Is that you or them?
That is the news.
Really?
It's down. I turn it down because
No,
so
I
can
meant
hear
like,
Ray.
kind of sounds like it's...
Because I have my headphones working now.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I see. Yeah.
So I can hear Ray.
Oh, I get it. Yeah, I put mine on too.
Yeah, you put. Yeah. You want to be able to hear Ray. Yeah.
Yeah. You got questions for him?
Yeah. Do you have questions too?
I'm gonna wing it, I guess.
That's all right. That's fine. Are you there, Ray?
I am.
All right, we got about 3 minutes. I'll give you a countdown when we're close.
Okay.
Your last name, Lapre? Lapre. Okay. Just want to make sure I'm pronouncing that correctly.
That's all right. I tell them like 3 or 4 times every week.
A new report reveals how NASCAR great Dale Earnhardt Jr. and his family escaped a fiery plane crash in Tennessee last year. Documents from the NTSB say the pilot forced open the door to save them as the cabin filled with smoke and flames. It's known that the landing gear on the plane had failed as it tried to touch down, but a final report from the agency has not yet been released. New Hampshire U.S. Senator Maggie Hassan says the Trump administration's pandemic response is not working. In a weekly Democratic address, she touted efforts by Dems to help Americans with the pandemic, including the so-called HEROES Act that was passed 2 months ago and has not yet been taken up by the GOP-controlled U.S. Senate. Hassan also argued supplies are still greatly needed.
Months into this crisis, medical providers, nursing homes, and businesses still do not have the personal protective equipment that they need to be safe.
This WBBF ownership or Hometown Talk Radio. Content aired on all programs are those of the host and their guests.
We're gonna be on in 30 seconds, Ray.
I mean, what's happening in Middleboro and surrounding towns? It's time for the Middleboro Week in Review with your host, Joey Driscoll. Stay tuned for news, Middleboro news, here on AM 1530 WBBF. Hey, Joey, what's happening?
And good morning. Welcome to WBBF Middleboro in Review for this morning, the 19th of July, 2020. And we're going to say good morning to Don. How are you, Don?
Good morning, Joe. How you doing this morning? It's beautiful out, isn't it?
Yeah, it is really beautiful out. I just want to mention one thing. One of the original Rosie the Riveters is making masks during this time of need, which is a really great thing. Again, community, helping community is a really great thing, and it's really needed during this time. And another person helping out community, the community of Middleboro, Ray LaPrey, is on with us. Good morning, Ray. I'm doing good. How are you?
Good morning, Ray.
So my first question is, what is your role in the food pantry?
I'm president of the St. Vincent de Paul Society. Of the Cranberry Collaborative in Middleboro, made up of the three Catholic churches in our area: Sacred Heart, St. Martha Mary, and St. Rose of Lima.
And during this pandemic, the food pantry has been open.
Open without interruption, and it's open 2 days a week, and it has been for the last 16 years.
And during this pandemic, what have you been doing to help the community?
Well, the main focus is our food pantry, but we also do a lot of other support work, like help with utilities, rent assistance. It could be clothing, transportation to medical appointments, furniture, lodging. Right now we're helping a couple of families that had problems with an apartment fire. So it could be anything. There's nothing foreign to the society when it comes to aid for clients.
And again, that's a really great thing. Again, community helping community, really important, especially during a pandemic. During this pandemic, the food pantry has been having plenty of food.
Yeah, it's amazing. We've had so many donations, grants, and volunteers coming in that we're constantly amazed by the generosity of people and companies. So that's been really good. That's buoyed our spirits and our motivation quite a bit.
Dawn, do you have a question for Ray?
Yeah, hi, good morning, Ray. How you doing? This is Don. Joey's co-host for the last year, so I'm sitting over here. But I wanted to ask about, as far as your volunteers. You said you have no problem getting volunteers. How would somebody, get in touch with you to be a volunteer, and are you always looking for volunteers?
We are always looking for volunteers. Most people who are familiar with our society are aware that the majority, not the vast majority, but a majority of our volunteers are people in retirement. Because it's a 24-hour business, having this kind of charity open. So a lot of the people feel their health immune compromised. So the numbers for volunteers, like operating the food pantry, have gone down. But other people are filling the gap. A lot of younger people, middle-aged, even younger than that, are coming in to fill the gap to help us operate the pantry, because it takes almost a minimum of 8 to 10 people just to run the pantry. Bare bones minimum. So it's been eye-opening.
It must be. I mean, your heart must really feel good about people who come forward in time of need. Do you deliver a lot of the groceries to some people who don't have transportation or can't drive? Is that something you guys do a lot?
Some of our volunteers are involved in the Meals on Wheels program, but we noticed that a lot of our older clients, I mean 75 plus, weren't coming in, and we started contacting them individually. And we found out that a lot of them either don't have transportation or are afraid of contracting the virus. So we started a program where you can adopt a senior, and a person would adopt a family, come in and do the shopping for them, and then deliver it to them individually. So that started with like 2 different clients, but now we're up to like 27 families that we shop for on a regular basis, and those shoppers come in either before or after, just after the pantry has been opened, and then they deliver it to those people. So that's been a really big success story.
Like you said, it's like a 24/7 situation, so when things are real quiet, you can do something different than normal pantry procedures. That's what it sounds like to me, anyway.
Yeah, there's not too many quiet times.
Oh, I bet, especially lately, huh?
Yeah, so when these pantries not open, we're getting deliveries from like the Greater Boston Food Bank or any of our donation agencies, bringing it in, sorting it out, cleaning the pantry, and making a lot of calls with clients to find out other forms of assistance that they need. So that's an ongoing program.
During this pandemic, have you seen other people from other towns come to the food pantry?
Well, we service Carver, Lakeville, and Rochester as well. But when we have like an abundance, like sometimes we get donations from like Cumberland Farms or the Veterans Association up at Patriot Place. Could be anywhere, and we have an abundance. We will contact other agencies like South Shore Community Action Council in Plymouth or another St. Vincent de Paul food pantry in our Brockton district, to kind of spread the wealth, so to speak.
St. Vincent de Paul has always been good for the community. I remember I worked for an oil company in Abington, and the Abington branch helped out with fuel assistance too, a lot, heating oil. Do you guys do that too at all? You said mentioned something about utilities. Do you do the fuel assistance for heating oil?
We have our in-house programs, so to speak, one for electricity, one for propane. So those are actually run by the Central Council. Our headquarters for the Boston Archdiocese is in Stoughton, Massachusetts. So we have 2 different utilities for that. And we also have rent assistance, rent deposit assistance programs that are all run out of there. So we pay a portion of it. The overall council pays a portion of it. And that's how we try to help people with utilities and rental assistance.
Those are really great things that you and your food pantry are doing for the community. Again, like I did say earlier, community is extremely important. This pandemic has hit a lot of people, and it's important that they know that there are resources for them to help during this pandemic.
We've been actually trying to advertise. We put blurbs in the Boston, in the area newspapers like the Brockton Enterprise or the Middleboro Gazette, letting people know that we are open for business. And a lot of people are worried because they don't want to go into a closed environment like the food pantry. But we have a lot of safety measures in place. Only 3 people are allowed to go into the building at any one time. Everybody else has to wait outside, pick a number. Everybody has to wear a mask. They have to sanitize. They have to wear gloves. And no clients are allowed to touch anything. We do all the packaging. We pull the items off the shelf, and we help them put it in their cars when they're done. And when they're done with the shopping cart is sanitized. And all the clients and all the volunteers do the same things, and we exchange gloves every half hour to put new ones on. So safety is number one, and it's a priority. Nobody has had any issues contacting COVID since we've been starting this in March.
Now, as far as your PPE, your gloves, and your masks, and all the hand sanitizer, is that donated also from different agencies, different people?
Well, primarily we get our food from the Greater Boston Food Bank, and they have donated all the gloves we've been using. We've had handmade masks from, I don't know how many people, probably 12 to 15 different groups have been contributing masks. We also have them, like, I had some from my veterinarian, I had some from my primary care physician. I mean, everybody's been wonderful with that. So we've never run low on any of the PPE equipment that we've needed. And there are hand sanitizer bottles everywhere you turn.
It's funny, I wasn't sure if you listen to the USA News, but there was a Rosie the River, her name was May Cryer, and she's making masks. And she's trying to get her friends together to make masks. So she's 94 years old, and they helped, in the war effort. So it's good to hear that people are making masks, and that's a great, hot touching story about, Rosie the River. Her name was name's May Cryer, and they she's making masks. So it's just great. Everyone's just coming together. It's just such a iconic situation that Rosie the River is making masks. So
the people at Oak Point Retirement Community have been so helpful in this. Not only are they like maybe half of our committed volunteers, but since they can't do that, a lot of these masks have come from the people of Oak Point, and they've been contributing them on like a weekly basis. In fact, right now we have a stockpile of masks, so I don't think we're ever going to run out of masks as long as this pandemic is in place. So the people at Oak Point are our secret weapon behind the scenes as far as keeping the pantry open and going.
wow, that's something to say. Wow, that's did not know that. That's good to know. And plus, you probably have people from all different avenues helping too. But that's great that people are helping out. Especially, a shout out to the Oak Point community doing that for everybody.
Yeah, those people are the people of Oak Point are amazing. They even had they had a fundraiser a couple of weeks ago where they donated the funds to the food pantry, and they do that 5 or 6 times a year. Even the Oak Point Garden community will do the same. They'll have a flea market fundraiser or a yard sale and contribute some of the funds to that in the springtime to the pantry. So, and they're amazing. We just had a huge grant from Hometown America, which is the landlord. That was a national grant, and that was just amazing. So that's going to allow us to move forward with new equipment for the pantry because we need more freezer and cooler space just to keep everything going.
Wow. And your location is again? Where's the food pantry? Where is the food pantry?
The food pantry is actually in the parish hall for Sacred Heart Church. That's in the center of downtown Middleboro. It's actually diagonally across from Sacred Heart Church. It's a white building next to the old St. Luke's Hospital. It's actually, if you want to look at it on a map, it's at the corner of Oak and Center Streets. And we're what they call the lower level because we have a lot of equipment there. We have walk-in freezer, walk-in cooler, and it takes a lot of room. So we pretty much occupy the bottom level of the parish hall where we're located.
So when it comes to food, what is some of the food that you may have at the pantry?
We have a lot of perishable and non-perishable. So it could be anything. So when a client goes in, typically they're looking at a giant whiteboard and they can make their picks on fruit, vegetables, frozen meats, almost anything that we have. And ours runs the gamut. Ours is based on USDA requirements for a healthy diet. So we check off all those boxes. So we have milk, we have dairy, we have vegetables, we have fruit, frozen meat, and all the canned goods you can think of.
Don, do you have
one full shopping cart of goods.
Don, do you have one more question for Ray?
Yeah, I mean, we could probably take an ad, and then we can talk right off air, and if anything that you might want to add, that'd be good, right? Do you think, Joe?
Yeah, if there's anything you want to add, we can do another segment too.
Yeah, no, just one more question, and like I said, there's no income verification or whatnot. So, in your heart, the people, I'm saying the majority of the people are in need, but do you feel that there's people there who don't need it? I mean, do you get that, or you don't even think that? You just think if they're showing up at the food pantry, they're in need. I mean, it's kind of a
We
way.
don't ask questions. In
Right.
fact, during the pandemic, we've waived all requirements. The only thing you have to do is show proof of residency for the 4 towns.
Okay, I understand.
And you don't even have to go there to register anymore. Can I just give the number?
Yes.
So if a client wants to register for the food pantry, all they have to do is leave a message on our answer machine. We will in turn contact them, and they're automatically added to the database. They don't even have to go down there to register. And as soon as they go in, they're allowed to go in and get food. This takes up like a separate visit to the pantry, and it makes everything easy. So if a client or somebody who's, for whatever reason, wants some groceries, they can use our toll-free number. Our hotline is 508-947-1717. If they just leave a message, one of our intake people will in turn call them back and automatically add them to the database. And when they show up, their ID card will be ready for them. There's no requirements right now. All requirements for income have been waived, so anybody can show up. No questions asked. So trying to help as many people as possible. We're doing food drives with the Veterans Association right now, once a month or twice a month. We're trying to do outdoor food drives with them, and any other group that wants to participate, just leave us a message. We'll be happy to help.
Ray, is there any last things that you want to talk about? We got a few minutes before we take a break.
Well, one of the things that we can see coming is right now there's a moratorium on utility and rents. So we urge everybody not to make their payments in good faith as often as they can. And a lot of people are confused saying it's a forgiveness instead of a deferral. So we think the dam's going to break eventually when these moratoriums come due, and a lot of these shut-offs and eviction notices are going to come out of the woodwork. And the longer the state puts off the moratoriums, the worse the problem is going to become eventually. So I just urge people to remember that it's a deferral. It's not forgiveness. And try in good faith as often as you can to make those payments. And if you need help with those payments, come and see us. We have rent and utility assistance, and we're happy to help anybody who has the need.
Don, is there any last?
Thank you for calling us and taking the time to talk to us. Joey's been talking about the food pantry for about 3 months now, pretty much every week, telling everybody. So we're really excited that you did call and you did take the time. And I'm sure I'm speaking for Joey. You can call anytime you want, and if there's any updates, you can feel free to call the show. If anything new comes up, that'd be wonderful, just to let everyone know, because we will be letting everyone know. We have been letting everyone know, and it's a great community service, and we thank you too for your service, because a lot of people really going out of their way during this time, and I personally thank you. But one more question about, I know you say you service 4 towns. Now, if somebody calls you from another town, would you give them a number or give them give them an avenue to pursue? You pretty much, if someone from Halifax called or East Bridgewater, you pretty much know where they need to call. You pretty much have numbers, and you can set them in the right direction, correct?
Sure, we do have referral services. In fact, we're one of the member outfits that participate in the Middleboro Area Assistance Coalition, and we meet monthly just to share this kind of database information. So if somebody need legal help, for instance, we know where to refer them to. If it's something we don't cover, we're not just going to leave them high and dry. We're going to at least point them them in the right direction, whether it's to the Salvation Army or the Assistance Coalition or the South Shore Community Action Council. There's always a way to help somebody.
And one more question too. I mean, do you have volunteers from other collaborates that you work with? As far as do you guys like switch back and forth? As far as if you have an abundance of volunteers and say Halifax, East Bridgewater, Whitman, say that's an area group or whatever, would your volunteers go there? Do you guys pretty much stay in touch as far as logistics and coordination?
Oh, sure, because the Brockton district that we're a part of, right, we have 7 other food pantries. So we work on a cooperative basis. Like if there's an abundance, like a couple months ago, we had a donation of 900 dozen eggs. That's something we can't store. Nobody has that kind of storage, so we contacted everybody in the same day. I forgot how many agencies showed up for eggs. Eggs are really skyrocketing in their price and availability. So that's just one example.
Wow.
Like one time we had 12 pallets of Cheez-Its that we had to give away. So
Right.
we've done that too.
Because you had no place to put them.
We've had
Right.
other organizations like the veterans have shown up to do deliveries for holiday meals. Sometimes we have Knights of Columbus that came in when the pandemic first hit and we were really low on volunteers. They showed up to lend a hand, and that was invaluable. So it's like the signs you see around town, we're all in this together. That's very, very true in a real sense.
Wow. That's wonderful. I think it's wonderful.
Thank you so much, Ray, for calling in today. We really appreciate what you and the food pantry do for Middleboro and surrounding towns.
So the surrounding towns are Carver, Rochester, Middleboro, Lakeville, right?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yep.
Thank you so much, Ray.
Here and to address everybody, I hope everybody takes advantage of it because we're here to help. And that's our mission in life.
Don't hang up, Ray, because I want to ask you a couple of questions off air when he runs the commercials, if you could.
Oh,
so,
sure.
Thank
Not
you.
a problem.
All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we will be right back here on Middleboro in Review.
You think you might want to ask Ray if you're interested in doing a PSA?
Ray, you still there?
Yes, sir.
Don wants to ask you a question about possibly doing a PSA with us.
Yeah, would you be interested in doing a PSA? Maybe something we could run weekly, or do you think we're doing, by mentioning it is good enough? Just curious.
I'm having a hard time hearing you, Don.
You might want to ask him, Joe.
Would you be interested in possibly doing a PSA with our station?
What is the PSA public service announcement?
Yeah, public service announcement.
Yeah, it's something that would change week to week depending on our capabilities and what our focus might be on the moment. Is that type of thing?
Yeah, definitely. We can change it week to week if you wanted to do that. We could. Yeah, there is a commercial appliance. We could change it week to week. Yeah.
And that would be like a 30-second spot.
Yeah, it'd be about a 30-second spot. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be happy to do that. Not a problem at all.
Okay, I'm gonna give you my email, and you can. Do you have the ability to record it and send it over email?
Sure. I could probably find a recorder somewhere. That's not a problem.
Okay, I'm gonna give you my email.
Go ahead, Joe.
JoeEDrill6599@gmail.com.
All right. Joe Driscoll.
Yep, Joe.Driscoll with 2 L's at the end. And
66599 at gmail.com.
yep, 6599@gmail.com.
All right, I've got it. You know what I'll do, Joe, is I'll review this with the pantry manager and see if he has anything that's coming up that I might not know about. Because a lot of times we just started having meetings after 4 months, and the first one was like a marathon session. But I'm going to meet with the pantry manager. That's Dave Cunningham. That's our go-to guy. He actually runs the pantry. And I'll see if I can put something in a 30-second time slot and send it over to you, maybe in a WAV file or something.
Okay, sounds good.
All right.
Thank you so much, Ray.
Man, I really appreciate
Yeah,
the opportunity to speak
thank you,
with
Ray. That'd be great. Maybe when this pandemic's over, we can meet in person and have lunch or something. That'd be wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to meet you in person once this pandemic is over.
Great. Yeah, well, I don't know when normal will be in the future, but yeah, I'd be happy to come down and see you guys.
Oh, I'm just gonna give you my email once again because I think I forgot a letter in there. So it's JOE
Yeah.
dot DRISCOLL 6599 at gmail.com.
I've got it, Joe.
All right, sounds good. Thank you so much, Ray.
All right, thank you, Joe. Thank you, Don.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank
Have
you.
a good day. Morning.
Have
Bye.
a great day.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye.
Boy, you've been good. How do you get the commercials and talk to him?
Every Sunday from noon to 2 o'clock here on WBB.
I don't know.
You look at the timers?
Don't ask me. I don't know.
Were you right on the money?
Yeah,
Nice. Good for you.
pretty much.
Did you do Christmas PSA?
There was a couple of ads.
You gotta read that?
What?
You gotta read that?
Oh, yes. First thing.
And then, gonna do your weather, right?
Yeah. All right, what do we got? We got one more? All right, no, we don't. Let me just go back to this.
You did Spock, right?
Yeah, I did. All right, let's go back.
It's weird having the earphones on.
It is. It is. Absolutely, 100% it is. All right. 3, 2, 1. And we're back here on Middleboro in Review. We want to thank Ray for calling in today. That was a great interview.
That was a wealth of information for anybody. Because you've been talking about the food pantry for months and months.
Absolutely, yes.
And he called. It was a good 25 minutes. We talked to him. And we could have won another 25 minutes if we had it.
Absolutely, yeah.
So that's wonderful that he was able to get his point across. And there's no question now as far as what the food pantry does for everybody and how it works. And if you've been listening, that's like I said. And I love the idea of the Rosie the Riveter story. I heard that last night, and then I heard it this morning on USA News, and it's just great. It really is.
All right, so we have a weather bulletin to talk about today that came over from Chris Keach. So, 3:30 p.m. Eastern, Saturday, July 18th, is when this was issued. The heat advisory remains in effect from 11 a.m. Sunday to 8 p.m. Monday. So a heat advisory will go into effect this morning at 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. on Monday. Heat index value up to 101 are expected. Portions of northern Connecticut, central and eastern, southeastern and western Mass, and northern Rhode Island. 11 a.m. to 11 a.m. Sunday to 8 p.m. on Monday. Hot temperatures and high humidity may cause heat illness to occur. Drink plenty of fluids. Stay in air-conditioned rooms. Stay out of the sun. and check up on relatives and neighbors. Young children and pets should never be left unattended in vehicles under any circumstances. So that is a weather bulletin.
First official heat wave. When they sending bulletins out like that, it's gonna be on the air.
Speaking of heat and weather,
Yeah,
let's go to the weather.
Yeah, we never did the weather.
We didn't do the weather. Yes,
No.
let's talk about the weather. Right now in Middleboro it is 73 degrees. It will go up to 94, but keep in mind the heat index will be higher than that. 93 on Monday, 92 on Tuesday. So we have a couple of days in Middleboro where it's going to be very hot. In Taunton, 95 degrees today, with 93 and 92 on Monday and Tuesday. Driscoll, North Dakota, 79 degrees today. Right now, currently it is 58.
That sounds like the place to be.
It is, yeah, it does. It does sound like the place to be. Really cool out right now. And in Driscoll, Texas, 73 degrees. And the temperature will be 94.
Wow, it's gonna be more hot here than Driscoll, Texas.
Yes.
That's weird.
So, let's switch gears. Let's talk about graduation coming up. It's coming up in just a few weeks. The Middleboro graduation. July 27th to August 1st will be senior activities. During that week, Monday the 27th will be the senior barbecue. Tuesday, July 28th, will be senior scholarship night. Wednesday, July 29th, will be senior last assembly. Thursday, July 30th, will be senior prom from Granite Links in Quincy, Mass. Beautiful place. Beautiful place. Granite Links is very beautiful.
They got a great restaurant there too.
And Friday, July 31st, will be senior celebration. And finally, August 1st, the first Saturday in August, will be the class of 2020 graduation ceremony. I still don't know how they will do it, if it will be in an outdoor setting or if it will be in the gym.
I'm sure if the weather's good, it's outdoor. It's outdoor. They're gonna set up a tent, and that, they're not gonna push it and stick people indoors, especially with the heat.
Yeah. It gets hot in that gym.
Right.
Trust me,
But,
it gets hot in that gym.
It was hot when you graduated 3 years ago. Was it really hot that day?
Yes. It was bad.
A lot of people cooped up in that little gym in Middleboro High. Right?
It was really bad.
Yeah, I remember that.
So the heat, it does get hot in that gym. So yeah. And probably in August it wouldn't be much different
Be
because
worse in August.
it would still be hot.
Right.
It's mid-July and we are getting a heat wave. So
Oh, this is the time to have a heat wave.
yeah. All right, so we did get news this week that the 4-H fair for this year, which was supposed to happen Labor Day weekend, will not take place. It has been canceled due to COVID-19. And there's been so many other events around town that have been canceled due to COVID. The Crazy Days Festival that was supposed to happen in early August, in just a couple of weeks, will not take place this year.
You know what's so sad
and
about that?
the 4-H fair will not take place this
You
year.
know what's so sad about 4-H fair is terrible at the same time, but the Crazy Days is such a wonderful festival for the town of Middleboro because it puts Middleboro on the map. I know a lot of people travel from other parts of the state to come to the Crazy Days, and it really helps the town out because it's just like people want to go back. Look what I was talking about, what was it, last week about going into towns and shopping, brick and mortar stores, than just dealing with Amazon or dealing with delivery. You know, now that the cases are down, I don't know, maybe venture out, put a mask on, and maybe do some shopping at your local merchants. It's your neighbors who you're buying off of. It's if you live in Middleboro or Taunton, it's your neighbors. It's your kids' parents or kids, your kids' friends' parents or whoever it is. It might be a relative who owns a business here in town. And I really feel that you should come into town and frequent the establishments, go to the restaurants. They just open up. They need help. So I really think it's something most people should try to do, and it's too bad about Crazy Days because that really highlighted Middleboro as a town and all the businesses. You walk through Crazy Days, and you've been there enough with, you filmed it for Matt Camp.
Yes.
Now, I mean, driving through a town, whatever, even if you lived in a town all your life, you don't know all the businesses. But if you walk through, you do, because they're out and they're out front, and you're dealing with the owners, and you're talking to the people who work there and the people who own the businesses, and it's more of a one-on-one situation. It's comfortable. And it's really, it's too bad. And as far as the 4-H, that's too bad too, because a lot of young kids go to that. A lot of people like the auction. It's a tradition.
A lot of people that do go there, yes. At least 1,000.
Right, but in the same time, I think try to support your local businesses, because if you don't, they're going to be gone.
Yeah, absolutely. Supporting local businesses are really important.
They're your neighbors.
Yeah.
They're not a big corporation based out of state.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not knocking Amazon. That they helped out a lot during the pandemic, and they're a business. They're an American business too, so I don't knock any American business at all. Okay, none. Big oil, small oil, Amazon, the guy who's little store down the street, little deli in Taunton or Middleboro. I don't knock no business, but they were there. Amazon was there. Everyone used them because the stores were closed and people were scared. But now numbers are going down. You put a mask on, social distance. Maybe it's time to start, frequenting these establishments and keeping these people afloat, because they're your neighbors. And I'm a business owner too, myself, so I need to make sure I buy local, because it's the local people who are going to be calling me for my services, not the guy from Amazon. Jeff Bezos isn't calling me anytime soon to do removal services.
Yeah.
Okay? It's the guy who owns the deli, or it's the guy who owns the hardware store. It's the local guy in Middleboro, East Bridgewater, Whitman, wherever, the surrounding communities. Is that my rant? I have another rant later, but I think we're out of time.
So what are we going to talk about for the last 15 minutes of the show? Well, first, we are going to talk about the schedule coming up for this weekend. This Sunday, the 19th of July. We have, after us, we have Bread of Life, the Bread of Life broadcasts. It's at 8 to 8:30. There's some older programs that are being aired.
For Bread of Life?
For Bread of Life.
Yeah.
The past couple of weeks, there have been some older programs.
It's great that he's, and Reverend Rankos, he gave you those, right?
Yes.
To play?
Yes.
So I'm glad he's mixing it up a little bit, because they're great. It's great message. And he's the nicest guy you ever want to meet. He really is. He's really a wonderful man.
8:30, we have the Rosary. At 9 o'clock, we have Talking Birds, a great program to listen to.
With Ray Brown.
At 9:30, we have Keys of the Kingdom, another great program.
Especially if you like music.
Yes.
A lot of
Absolutely.
music in that, yep.
At 10 o'clock, we have Roger Haber and the First Baptist Church of Randolph. At 11 o'clock, musical odyssey, and a lot of great programming, a lot of great music in that program. And at noon to 12, Sounds of the Emerald Isle with Jim Larkin. And to round out the Sunday, Stand Up Strong with Ed Miller and Tony Branch at 2 p.m. this afternoon. So, we're going to take a quick break, but I'm going to give a little preview of what we're going to be talking about the next 10 minutes. We're going to have a little segment on World War II history. Kind of wanted to do this for a while, because I love history a lot, and Don is also a World War II history buff as well. So we're going to talk a little bit about a particular battle in World War II, Operation Market Garden. I was looking into this yesterday, and we're going to talk a little bit about it when we return. And we're also going to have our Today in Histories as well. So, we will be right back here on Middleboro in Review for the 19th of July. We'll be right back. Talking Birds promo 7. No. I'm going to read a little bit about it. I'm going to read a couple of paragraphs from this article here, and
Yeah,
we're going to talk about it.
Yeah, I don't get caught
We'll,
up on it.
we'll talk a little bit about it.
You know, I hate to say it, I wasn't really paying attention when you told me that. You about
It's-
the paratroopers, right?
What?
You about the paratroopers, right?
Yes.
I would be.
Operation Market, Operation Garden. It was two separate operations. One was the paratroopers, and the other was the ground stuff.
Okay.
I have a little article that I can read about it.
How much time we got? I want to talk about something. I need like 2 minutes.
11 minutes. So we're going to talk about this for about 7 minutes, maybe.
I want to run something by people, if possible.
Okay, sounds good.
Alright.
Yeah.
You hear so much about these different mayors shutting down beaches to other people who don't live in the community.
Yeah, I heard that. Rhode Island, right?
Well, Rhode Island,
Yeah.
and then up in Gloucester last week.
Yep.
God, that's kind of selfish.
It is.
I don't know, man. You know?
100% it is.
So I'm gonna tell people and go to the Berkshires, hang out at the state parks. You know, state. But
Absolutely.
You got a mayor.
You gotta
saying-
be.
You got some mayor saying don't come to Gloucester or don't come
Yeah,
here.
that's
Or don't come,
bad.
I don't know. That's
You
just.
know, yeah.
I don't know.
That's bad.
You know,
You-
one,
you gotta-
one,
you
elected,
gotta-
one elected official is going to tell thousands of people not to come to their town and frequent people's businesses. I'm sure that isn't the case if the people, the restaurants and the businesses want that.
Yeah.
I mean, if things are open, they're open. There's a risk involved with COVID-19.
Yeah.
If you don't want to take that risk, you stay home. But you don't tell people you're not welcome to your town because you might contract COVID.
Yeah.
I saw that. I saw that interview from that. I saw that interview too. I really. I think just some people just like to. Yeah, they just want to get themselves on the news sometimes.
Yeah.
To learn more about the Combat Veteran Motorcycle Association and how you can join or support, please visit cvma2-2.org.
All right. 3, 2, 1. And we're back here on Middleboro in Review for the 19th of July here on WVBF 1530 AM, 99.7 FM. So, let's talk a little bit about Operation Market Garden. It was two separate operations. It was two separate phases. Market, which was the airborne assault to seize key bridges, and Garden, which was the ground attack moving over the seized bridges, creating the opportunity for the Allies to take that area, to take that bridge, to take Eindhoven. So, Operation Market Garden was a failed World War II military operation fought in the Netherlands from the 17th to the 25th of September, 1944. It was the brainchild of Field Marshal Sir Bernard Law Montgomery and strongly supported by Winston Churchill and Franklin Roosevelt. The airborne became part of the operation, and it was undertaken by the 1st Allied Airborne Army with the land operation of the 2nd British Army. The objective was to create a 64-mile area into German territory with a bridgehead over the River Rhine, creating an Allied invasion route into northern Germany. This was achieved by seizing a series of 9 bridges by airborne forces, with land forces swiftly following over the bridges. The operation succeeded in liberating the Dutch cities of Eindhoven, along with many other towns, creating a 60-mile area into German-held territory, limiting V-2 rocket launching sites. However, they failed to secure the bridgehead over the Rhine, with the advance being halted at the river. Their objective was to take the bridge, with their ultimate objective ending the war by Christmas. They failed in this objective, which ended up pushing the end of the war back to late April, early May. So the failure of this particular operation pushed the inevitable victory a little bit further by about 4 or 5 months. What are your thoughts on this, Don?
Well, they wanted to go into Germany's heartland. They wanted to go into the industrial area, complex area. And if it worked, it would have saved a lot of... I mean, you have to take chances of, you can't say it's a failed. It was a failed attempt, but it wasn't. Because if it worked, they would have... the war would have ended a lot quicker.
Yes.
Because once an industrial base, you lose an industrial base, that's it. They can't make any more weapons. They go after the refinery, the oil, whatever's they got left, whatever they're producing. If they can't produce anymore, they're done. As soon as their equipment runs out that they have going, the war's pretty much over. So that was their thinking. They tried. They really did try to end the war. So that's a good article, I think.
The Allies had failed to cross the Rhine. The river remained a barrier to their advance until offensives at Oppenheim and other towns. In March of 1945, the failure of Operation Market Garden to form a foothold over the Rhine ended the Allies' hopes of finishing the war by Christmas.
What they wanted to try to do is, hence the date, September.
Yeah.
They didn't want to go in November or December.
No.
Start an operation when the winter rolls in. It's not smart. I mean, the logistics is the quagmire. It's terrible. So that was as far as weather conditions, if it worked, they got September, October, maybe into November to try to push it further before the weather really gets bad. Because once the weather gets bad, logistics is a nightmare. It's almost impossible.
Yes. Yeah.
So, hence March, right?
Yes.
They started again. So,
I wish we had a little bit more time to talk about this, but we don't. We have about 4 minutes left in the show. We're going to switch it over to Don. He wants to let's talk a little bit about something.
Yeah, real quick, maybe 1 minute. Let me know when I don't want to take all your time.
No problem.
Heard the news this week that Mayor of Gloucester didn't want anyone coming in our town to use the beaches. No parking at all. Now, city beaches is run by the city, so obviously the mayor can decide that. So, don't come to Gloucester. Heard some about don't come to Rhode Island. I mean, if everything's open, it's open. I don't know why you're picking and choosing. It doesn't. Same with Maine. They don't want Massachusetts people up, I guess. I don't know. So we have Massachusetts. Go to the Berkshires, people. All right? Go to the mountains. I bet most of the people listening haven't been to the Berkshires. Now, I've talked to so many people who live in Massachusetts. They've gone to New Hampshire, gone to Maine, they've gone everywhere else but the Berkshires. Route 2, there's plenty of state parks out there. I'm sure you can get a camp. You want to go camping, I'm sure there's some bed and breakfasts that are open. It's, social distancing, I bet, you could find something. Keep the business in Massachusetts. If, I don't want to sound like I'm grumpy about it, but if Maine doesn't want Massachusetts people coming out, and you have to go through all this testing and whatever, and stay in Massachusetts. The Berkshires is huge. This state has so much to offer. I remember the governor said that about 3 weeks ago, Governor Baker. Hey, plenty to do in Massachusetts. You don't have to go to Maine, you don't have to go to New Hampshire.
There's a lot of things to do in
If
Massachusetts.
you feel, I don't know, if you did, it doesn't sound like the welcome carpet's too out too much. I mean, other states have the right to have the rules, and I understand that. And if it's just too frustrating to keep up, go out to Western Mass. There's a great town in Western Mass. It's called Florida, Mass. So go to Florida, Massachusetts. Go check out the Hoosick Tunnel. Go check out the Deerfield River. There's plenty of little towns out there to check out. There's plenty of camping site along the Mohawk Trail, Route 2, which is a beautiful, beautiful ride.
The Quabbin Reservoir.
You got the Quabbin Reservoir. That I'm not sure if it's open, but I mean you could drive past it. I think it's Route 202. Then you got Route 20, which is called Jacob's Ladder, west of Springfield. That's a beautiful ride up through those towns of Russell, Otis, up that way to Lee, Mass. 2 minutes, he's telling me. So, all right, I don't know. Massachusetts has so much to offer.
Yes, absolutely.
So, even Central Mass, you got towns like Orange, Lee, Athol. You have towns like Templeton. They're all over the place. So you can just stay in Massachusetts and help the Massachusetts economy. So that's just my rant, my second rant of the show.
All right, so we have a couple of today in history to talk about. 1845, the Great New York Fire of 1845. The Great New York City Fire of 1845. The last great fire to affect Manhattan began early in the morning and was subdued that afternoon. The fire killed 4 firefighters, 26 civilians, and destroyed 345 buildings. 1900, the first line of the Paris Metro opens for operation. Birthdays on this day. 1947, Brian May, English singer-songwriter, guitarist, producer, and astrophysicist. He was the guitarist for the band Queen. And I did not know the astrophysicist part until I did see something that he said about, I think it was the former planet Pluto. He was talking about it. So I did not know he was an astrophysicist, was an astrophysicist as well.
I think a lot of people don't know about different musicians, like Bruce Dickinson from Iron Maiden, for instance, is a pilot,
Yeah.
and a world-class fencer. So
Yeah. So, 1976, Benedict Cumberbatch, Doctor Strange in the Doctor Strange Marvel movies. He also played in Star Trek as well. And I can very quickly get that up for everybody on what he played. I believe he played in the movie Star Trek Beyond back back in 2009, I think it was.
The J.J. Abrams.
Yes, the J.J. Abrams Star Trek film.
It's
Yes.
funny. There's people who love J.J. Abrams like us, and people who don't. I love J.J. Abrams. I think he's just wonderful, and there's so much people just don't like him. I don't know why. I think J.J. Abrams is like one of the best. He did a lot of writing and producing for those movies. The Star Wars movies I thought were good, but he did. That's just my opinion.
A lot of great actors who worked on Star Trek in general. Chris Pine, Leonard Nimoy.
Yeah, Leonard Nimoy was there. Yeah, right. Yep.
Anton Yelchin. So many great actors and
I
actresses.
love that new reboot. It's funny, a lot of people don't. I've talked to people who are big Star Trek fans.
He played Khan in Into Darkness.
Right. I've talked to people who are huge Star Trek fans, from the original to the Next Generation to the original 6 movies or whatnot, even all the spin-offs. But when it comes to the reboots, the JJ, they're just like, I just like, you don't like it at all? It's like, no. It's like, well, I just don't understand it. I like them all. To be honest with you. I like all.
All right, we have one death to talk about. 1965, Syngman Rhee, South Korean journalist and politician. He was the first president of South Korea. So that'll do it for today's program. Hope everyone enjoyed. Next week, July the 26th, will be another Sunday. Not sure what we'll have on the show, but I know we'll be definitely talking about the food pantry again. And also graduation again as well. I'm not sure what else we'll have on the show, but stay tuned. We will maybe make an announcement on what we are looking to do for next week's program. I know that, again, we're going to talk about the food pantry and we're going to talk about graduation. Graduation is fast approaching for Middleboro class of 2020, so we're going to talk about that next week. So that'll do it for today's program. I hope everyone enjoyed, and we'll be back next week. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Broadcasting live from the Taunton Federal Credit Union Studios.
This is a new.
14 Church Green. We are
Sounds
AM
new.
1530. WBBF, Middleboro, Taunton.
It is new.
259 DD.
Just did this. I gotta do a 3-minute news because
Radio station.
I gotta make sure I get this tape in. I didn't get it in earlier.
What tape?
Tape for today's Run of Lunch.
With Chris Barnes.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for watching today. And we will talk to you next week. Bye-bye.
Shared with his father.
John Lewis.